This is actually starting to get so much fun to the point where it's almost kind of sad. What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and if you remember what Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 are, then you know that they're coming to Nintendo Switch later this year. They're going to be released on the Switch, as well as other consoles and all, and blah blah blah. But the point is, they're going to be released on Nintendo Switch at the end of November, which is fine. That's cool, and most people we're gonna get that and just maybe enjoy it, even if it's remasters of a 3DS game or remasters of a port of something from just other consoles and whatever. But the point is, here's where we add another stab wound to the Nintendo body. Because if you are going to get Resident Evil Revelations HD in some form, you have a choice. If you go onto the Nintendo eShop, you have a choice. And you can get either Resident Evil Revelations 1 for €20, or you can get Revelations 2 for €20. Or you can buy a bundle and get both games for €40. No savings there because, well, it just makes it easier to spend your money is all, not actual savings or incentive to buy more than one. But here's where we add the stab wound. And this is where we've had multiple stab wounds. The list is just getting longer of stab wounds for this specific reason at this point. But let's go anyway. So what's happening? Well, if you decide to go the digital route and you want to download Resident Evil Revelations 1, you're going to need 13 gigabyte on your Nintendo Switch. Fair enough. That's still not great because it's, even if you don't have anything stored on your Switch, that's half your available storage on your Nintendo Switch. Because remember, it launched with 32 gigabytes of internal storage in 2017 for some reason, and because of formatting and operating system, reserve space, etc., you have 26 gigs. So it's half your space. Okay, that's not a good look. And here's where it gets worse. If you want to download Resident Evil Revelations 2, let alone the bundle, let's forget Resident Evil Revelations 1 for a second. And let's just look at Resident Evil Revelations 2. If you want to download just the second game, it's over 26 gigabyte. It doesn't fit on your Nintendo Switch.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, that's right. You have to pay extra to play this game on your Nintendo Switch. And so you may be thinking, it's like, oh, well, Q, I prefer physical games. I'll just buy the physical version. That way I won't have to deal with it. Oh, are you so wrong? Because here we go. If you buy the physical version of Resident Evil Revelations Collection, you get a game card. You get one single game card in the box. And what does it have on it? Well, it has Resident Evil Revelations 1. Now, you may be wondering, it's like, wait, this is a collection. Where is Resident Evil Revelations 2 if I buy a physical copy of this collection? Well, it's a download code. That's right. It's a download code. And just on that piece of paper with the download code printed on it, there's a giant L just for Nintendo. So I've justifiably, as with many people, have criticized Nintendo's poor choice of including 32 gigabytes of internal storage in a device in 2017 because, well, Nintendo reasons. But here is where it gets even more fun. We've had examples in the past. Let's look at day one of the Nintendo Switch. If you bought the Dragon Quest Heroes, I know I use the same examples over and over because, well, we're only a few months into the console's lifespan and these problems are already becoming fairly commonplace. But anyway, I digress. Let's go back, and the Dragon Quest Heroes bundle of Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. 32 gigabytes. Doesn't fit on your storage. Launched the same day, March 3rd, as Nintendo Switch. So from day one, there was a game that already couldn't fit on your Nintendo Switch. Now, fair enough, when it came to Dragon Quest Heroes, it was possible to buy a physical version of it. Not too bad because, well, not everyone wants a digital-only game, and some people prefer physical copies, if just for collector's value or just to trade in once they're done with it. But let's fast forward a little bit, and we'll look at NBA 2K18, a game I recently talked about, because of some schemage that not NBA 2K and Nintendo are forcing onto consumers. And even if you buy the physical version of NBA 2K18, you are required to have a micro SD card to download the rest of the game. That's right, you can pay full price to get an incomplete game on an inferior platform compared to the rest of the platforms that the game is on. And guess what? If you haven't spent extra money on a micro SD card, you can only play a portion of that game. That's a great business practice, isn't it? That's so pro-consumer. I know, right? And now here we are again in November, or at least when it launches in November. We'll be in November. And there is a game that you cannot play in any way, shape, or form on your Nintendo Switch unless you have paid extra for a micro SD card. Because unlike Dragon Quest Heroes, you can't get a physical copy of Resident Evil Revelations 2. That's right. You can't. There's no way to do it. You require an extra paid micro SD card. Could you imagine? Let's use another example here. Could you imagine on day one of the Xbox One if, let's say there was no real great games. Let's say Dead Rising 3. If you imagine just for a second on the launch of Xbox One, if Dead Rising 3 was 600 gigabytes and the Xbox One launched with 500 gigabytes, or let's look at the PlayStation 4. Could you imagine if Killzone, I was going to call it Killzone Switch, Killzone Shadowfall, could you imagine if that launched at 600 gigabytes? A game that you couldn't play? Yeah, imagine that. Imagine what other company would even have the balls to try that. Imagine what other company would make such poor business decisions and design and manufacture choices that would force this kind of thing. Fuck off, Nintendo. I'm not buying into your bullshit practices. I'm kind of happy that this is actually, well, I suppose you could say, taking gut shots to the Nintendo Switch, because I feel extra vindicated and extra justified, because unless they start releasing GameCube Virtual Console games, which I'm 99.9% sure they won't because of no analog triggers for some reason, another double step back when it comes to Nintendo. But the point is that I was never planning on getting a micro SD card. I thought I might need one, but it's clear, so apparent, and now it's just ridiculous on how clear it is that I will not probably ever need a micro SD card, because, well, my Nintendo Switch is for Switch exclusive games. I highly doubt Nintendo will ever put out a game on it that will take or will require a micro SD card, because Nintendo kind of want to shy away from highlighting their bad business practices, of which there's so many of them. But at the same time, if the Virtual Console hits, the games will be tiny, unless they're GameCube games, which they won't be because, well, analog triggers and digital triggers. But you see my point. So there's nothing really for me. I don't buy digital games for my Nintendo Switch, even out of the sake of convenience. And even though I've said previously in the past that sometimes I almost wish I had, it just makes me so happy that I don't. It's ridiculous. I have a huge grin on my face right now. It's a big shit-eating grin, because damn, it feels good to not be hindered and shackled by the poor business practices of a company. So that's it. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you looking forward to playing Resident Evil Revelations 2 on your Nintendo Switch that you can only play by forking out extra money for more storage, and you have no other possible way to play the game on your system without spending extra additional money, even if you never originally planned to it or you bought a physical version of it? Whatever. Let me know all of that in the comment section below, as well as how much you think this whole policy is going to bite Nintendo in the arse, because this list is just going to get longer and longer and longer as time goes on. Games are getting bigger and bigger, Nintendo are getting further and further behind, and, well, it's going to hurt eventually. Let me know all of that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take that L, Nintendo, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.